This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Bittersweet memories. That is.
All right, what do you think about when people compare Mariah Carey to you? How do you feel about that?
Let me think. I think that,
She had the greatest voice God ever put on this earth. Grammy Awards, sold-out arenas, movie deals, magazine covers, they called her the voice. But behind all that was a woman falling apart in slow motion, and nobody stopped it. This is the story of Whitney Houston, how she went from the top of the world to the bottom of a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton. Whitney Elizabeth Houston was born August 9, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey. Music was in her blood from day one. Her mother was Cissy Houston, a gospel singer who performed with Elvis and Aretha Franklin. Her cousin was Dionne Warwick. Her godmother was Aretha Franklin herself. Whitney didn't just grow up around music, she grew up around greatness. She started singing in the church choir at 11. By her teens, she was doing background vocals for major artists, modeling on the side, and appearing on the cover of 17 magazine. Record labels started calling. In 1985, at just 21 years old, she released her debut album and the music world stopped. That first album sold over 25 million copies worldwide. It produced hits like Saving All My Love for You, How Will I Know, and Greatest Love of All. She won Grammy after Grammy. In 1987, her second album debuted at #1, making her the first female artist in history to enter the charts at the top. She set a Guinness World Record with 7 consecutive #1 singles. Nobody had done that before, not Diana Ross, not Aretha, nobody. By the late 80s, Whitney Houston wasn't just a singer, she was an icon. Beautiful, talented, poised, the kind of woman the whole world wanted to celebrate, and she seemed untouchable. But in 1989, she met Bobby Brown at the Soul Train Music Awards. Bobby was raw, street, edgy, the complete opposite of Whitney's polished image, and she was drawn to that. People around her were nervous, her family, her label. Bobby had a reputation, legal trouble. A lifestyle that didn't match where Whitney was headed. She didn't care. They married in 1992. That same year she starred in The Bodyguard, and her cover of I Will Always Love You became one of the best-selling singles of all time. She was on top of the world, but the marriage was rocky from the start. Arguments, infidelity, and drug use that had been building since the late 80s, marijuana, cocaine, pills, now escalating into a full lifestyle. People around her saw it, her mother saw it, but Whitney was in denial. In one famous interview, she looked the camera dead in the eye and laughed it off. Said crack is whack, but there was nothing funny about what was happening. Through the mid to late 90s, the cracks became craters. Whitney canceled shows, showed up late, that legendary voice started cracking. In 2000, she was caught at a Hawaii airport with marijuana. It made the news and embarrassed her publicly. In 2002, she sat down with Diane Sawyer looking thin, tired, not herself. America watched in shock. In that interview, she said, "I'm my own worst enemy," and she was right. She and Bobby divorced in 2007 after 15 years. Their daughter Bobby Christina grew up caught in the middle of all of it. In 2009, Whitney attempted a comeback with I Look to You. The album sold. But the voice was a shadow of what it once was. The power was gone. The damage was done. Some nights on tour she sounded okay. Other nights concert goers asked for refunds. Whitney Houston, the woman with the greatest voice in music, was getting criticized on the very stages she used to own. February 2012, Grammy weekend in Los Angeles. Whitney was supposed to attend. She performed at a pre-Grammy party the night before, hosted by Clive Davis, the man who signed her decades earlier. Witnesses said she seemed off. Erratic, out of it. The next day, February 11th, she was found unresponsive in the bathtub of her suite at the Beverly Hilton. She was 48 years old. The coroner ruled accidental drowning with contributing factors of heart disease and cocaine use. The woman with 7 consecutive #1 singles. The woman who outsold almost every artist of her generation. Gone. The Grammys that night became a tribute. Jennifer Hudson performed I Will Always Love You and could barely get through it. The world mourned, but the tragedy didn't stop there. Bobby Christina, Whitney's daughter, who grew up watching her mother battle addiction, was found unresponsive in her own bathtub in 2015. She was 22. She died 6 months later, mother and daughter, both found in bathtubs, both gone too soon, It felt like pain that never got healed just passed itself down. Here's the real story underneath the story. Whitney Houston didn't fall because she was weak. She fell because she was human. She had money, fame, talent, and connections, and still couldn't escape the pain she was carrying inside. The drugs were never the problem. The drugs were the answer she found to a problem nobody helped her fix. Childhood pressure, industry pressure, a toxic relationship, a desperate need to be loved for who she really was, not just what she could do on a stage. She gave the world everything she had, and the world took it. They say the greatest voice to ever live belonged to Whitney Houston. They're probably right. Rest in peace, Whitney.